You are now listening to Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now in Odyssey Station.
Live from Carrollton, Georgia, this is Sports Pack.
West Georgia's go-to show for all things sports.
From the best interviews in college radio.
Hey, this is Coach Joel Taylor, head football coach here at the University of West Georgia.
Hey everybody, this is Jeff Bacon, Atlantic Sun Conference Commissioner.
To the hottest takes around.
I wholeheartedly believe that behind Sean Payton and a second-year Bo Nix, the Denver Broncos can dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs and be the AFC West champions.
I mean, plain and simple, the worst decision Kalen DeBoer has ever made is taking the head coaching position at Alabama.
We've got all you need and more right here on Sports Pack.
The Wolves play here.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic Monday edition of Sports Pack. I am your host, Richard Reed, joined today by John Howley, who is always killing it on the board. My guy, Jackson Schrader, and Cadence Reeven back in the building for tonight's show. How's everybody feeling today?
Swagalicious.
Pretty darn good, brother.
It's not what I expected.
I'm having a pretty good day so far.
That's good, because I'm having a great day as well, coming off of an amazing weekend of sports, starting off with an outstanding weekend of West Georgia sports, starting with our football team. Great college football Saturday to build off of that, and also NFL Sunday. That was a freaking block party, to say the least.
Block-a-Palooza, baby.
It was ridiculous. We got a whole lot to get into, including a surprising retirement in the college basketball front. Like I said, a lot of sports to get into, not much time, which is why we're going to get right into it. After, we'll remind you all that every Wednesday is Fried Chicken Wednesday at West Commons, which is why faculty and staff can now get their own meal plans by visiting westga.edu/dinewest and follow at UWGDine_West on Instagram for other specials and events. Once again, that is westga.edu/dinewest.
And don't forget that Westwoods has a new resident pool and is now accepting all applicants. More information is located at livewestwoods.com.
In a recent survey, almost 53% of full-time college students ages 18 to 22 drank alcohol in the past month. That is why Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign is here to remind you that there is no drinking under the age of 21, to never drink and drive, even if it's only one beer, and to add food and water when you drink so you don't end up texting your ex. Meaning, know your limits. Now, John, how about the Wolves, man?
Is Widener rolls to the right. He's got some time. Everybody's down at the end zone. He heaves it. And it is caught for a touchdown.
We are one. Go Wolves.
Now, to say it has been an exciting start to this West Georgia football season will be a massive understatement. Because, I mean, all of us at this table expected improvement off of last year's 4-7 season. But the fact that we're currently sitting at 0-4 and have matched our win total from last year, 4-0, excuse me.
Come on, Richard.
Listen, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about this team. The fact that we have started 4-0, already matching our win total from last season, is nothing short of incredible, Schrader.
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, to see this team come together, play the kind of ball that they've been playing, it's unreal. And you had the ability to ask Coach Taylor what he felt about that last win, and I'm pretty sure we have that right here. Did I get there too fast?
Not quite. You did get there a little too fast. We do have sound from Coach Joel Taylor. But before we get into that sound, I do want to talk a little more about this game we played this past Saturday against the then 1-2 Eastern Kentucky Colonels. This is our first game of UAC play. If you don't know, the UAC is the conference that West Georgia plays college football
WAC in the A-Sun.
Yep.
Exactly. It's the WAC of the A-Sun. And this is a big-time game because Eastern Kentucky shut us out on the road in Eastern Kentucky last year. So this is a big-time game, a real good get-right game, and no better way to get started than to run them out of our stadium, winning 33-12 in dominant fashion. Game started off a little slow, but after a go-ahead touchdown before halftime, our West Georgia Wolves really got rolling, and there was no turning back. But the only thing that kind of held us back was the fact that our star player, Latrell Morrell, our star running back who leads us in receiving yards and rushing yards, went down in this game, and we do have a little bit of sound from Coach Joel Taylor about that injury.
Yeah, I think Latrell will be fine for this Saturday. Give him another week. He was kind of hobbled a little bit throughout the week. We set him through practices and thought it would be good for the game. But he wasn't quite as good for the game. I think he was in there. I think he might have had 4 or 5 carries or something like that, and he was like, "Yeah, coach, it hurts." So we took him out, and we didn't sweat it. I knew we had a really good guy in TJ. And TJ took the majority of the 1 reps throughout practice. So for him to come out and do what he did, well, I already knew he was that type of player. And for him to do that was big. And, he had over 100 yards, had a touchdown. But like I said, man, he's a kid that's a pro mentality. He was ready for the moment.
And the big thing about that is, like you said, he has a pro mentality and was ready for the moment. When Latrell went down, I'll be honest, I was terrified.
Oh, yeah.
Latrell is
we all were.
Exactly. Latrell, exactly. He is our offense. He's been our best, arguably, overall football player on this team. So when he went down and it looked bad, I was nervous. But TJ Lester came in there, had 18 carries for 108 yards and a touchdown. It looked incredible. And then at the beginning of that clip, Coach Taylor said he thinks Latrell will be ready for this game. So the fact now that we know we have other options outside of Latrell, we now have Latrell and TJ Lester at running back, I'm even more confident going into UAC play.
And one thing about this game that really, speaks volume of how this team has improved. We always say that the offensive line last year was the reason that we only had 4 wins, and they only allowed 1 sack in this game against Eastern Kentucky, and that's huge.
Yeah,
when you only allow 1 sack, and we saw Davin was efficient. We didn't really utilize him as much as we have tried to in previous games, because when he faces pressure, he makes bad decisions.
Right.
Well, he didn't make bad decisions in this game because he did not really face that much pressure. So it was great to see that, great to see the offensive line working.
Yeah, he was a little limited to the passing game, but his longest was 31-yard pass, and ends up going for 2 touchdowns. So it helps him. Maybe we had to dial it back for him to give him the confidence he needs this week, because we're going all the way to Utah to play Southern Utah, and that's a good team.
Got to establish the run.
Richard and I were talking about it earlier. They're a darn good team for what their product is on the field. But also just back to TJ. The kid came from Milton, and he was originally committed to Eastern Kentucky, funny enough. But I'm glad we got him, because that Milton team, they had a big line, and now that he's producing it here, it's great to see. It really helps reassure you. So if, unfortunately, Latrell goes down again, we know we got a solid running back there.
It's funny that you mentioned TJ Lester being originally committed to Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
Because his dad played football there and actually went to the NFL from Eastern Kentucky. So the fact that we were somehow able to flip him from EKU to UWG,
Sprinkle some magic.
It's nothing short of incredible. But before we move on, Cadence, what has really impressed you about this West Georgia Wolves team as we are currently sitting at 4-0?
Honestly, compared to how it was last year, I feel like we're just rolling through all these wins, because last year I was like, okay, we've got a few wins here and there, and I was expecting some losses, but so far we have continuously pulled out and showed out, and I feel like the team is really feeling these wins, and they're wanting to win, and I feel like it's just adding towards a drive. There's a competitiveness that they're all going for.
Their confidence is building week in and week out, and we're gonna need this. We're gonna need more of this confidence going into this Saturday's game against Southern Utah, because yes, they are 1-3, so it's easy to overlook this team. But this is one of the better offensive teams in the FCS. They're top 5 in 3rd down conversions. They are the number 1 team in the nation in 4th down conversions, sitting at 100%. And the reason they go for it so much on 4th down is because they have a bad defense, but their offense is potent. They had over 500 yards of total offense this past weekend in a loss. So despite losing despite losing because of their lackluster defense, they are still putting up points. So this is going to be a game West Georgia has to be ready for. Cannot have turnovers, because this is the kind of offense that 9 times out of 10 will capitalize off of these turnovers.
We're just playing the opposite of whatever Florida's doing right now.
Exactly. Exactly, the exact opposite of whatever Florida's doing. But we also have more sports playing as well. Our women's soccer team will be at home for their next 2 games. Their first game being this Thursday at 7 p.m. versus Stetson, and this Sunday at 2 p.m. against Florida Gulf Coast. And Cadence, do you have a little bit to tell us about our volleyball team?
So our volleyball just played at the Mercer Invitational. We pulled through with 1 win and 2 losses. It was definitely a good game against UT Martin. We had a complete sweep there. But then we lost to Mercer in all 3 sets.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, and then they also lost to North Dakota in 2 sets, but they ended up pulling away with 1 win for that set. But it was kind of just a lackluster. We weren't pulling through. But one of our freshmen, Olivia Kramer, was named the Mercer Invitational All-Tournament Team. So she really pulled through and showed out this tournament.
Nice. And this is just one of the... Sadly, it seems like to be one of the casualties of our move to Division I.
Yeah.
Some of our sports have been able to rise to the occasion, which is our football team as of right now, while others have kind of sputtered along. Last year was rough all the way around. Basketball took a massive step back. Baseball was decent. You could argue baseball was our best sport last year.
Yeah.
But recently, outside of football, none of the other sports have been able to quite rise to the occasion at this point, and it's just one of the casualties of making this kind of move. Sometimes you will struggle early on. But Cadence, earlier you mentioned to me that our golf team is having a little bit of success, right?
Yeah, actually, our women's golf team in the last tournament that they played, they ended up placing, I think, 5th overall. I don't remember exactly what it was, but one of our golf team, one of the women's team, it's Hannah Barrett, was once again named the ASUN Golfer of the Week from last tournament. She has had back-to-back ASUN Golfer of the Week. And the men's team is also currently at their first tournament of the season. It's the GMAC Invitational. So I hope they can pull through because the women's team has been making quite some... they've been doing quite well.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds like it. I mean, it's incredible to hear. 'Cause like I was just talking about, some of our sports have really been struggling with this move to Division I athletics. So it's good to see that it's not just football that's starting to get to that level where we can really compete. Our golf teams are also doing the exact same thing. It's very exciting to see. And I also forgot to mention track had a really good season last year. We had a lot of people come up there and rewrite the record books. A whole lot of them. So there are other sports that are beginning to get to that level, but it takes time. But the one thing we can do is continue to go out, support, and encourage our different sports teams no matter what their record is. They're 0-0. They can only play the team that's in front of them. So if you're free, go out, go to a game, show some support, help cheer them on, and maybe you can help them get over that threshold so they can continue to build confidence like our football team is doing. And who knows, in the game on a 5, 6, 7-game win streak.
Maybe.
Now, before we go to break, I got to remind you that Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to help reduce the 21% of adults with low literacy skills. We're collecting new and gently used books for every UWG pre-K student monthly. Give today by visiting wolfuwg.com/bookdrive. That is wolfuwg.com/bookdrive. Now, stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we're diving into this insane college football weekend and trying to make sense of this landscape. Stay tuned. You're listening to Sports Back on Wolf Sports Network. Stay locked. You're listening to Sports Back right here on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
It ain't just a game. It's everything. This is where the best separate themselves from the rest. But to be the best, you gotta read the best. And the best is the playbook. Let's go. Yeah, go. Tune into the playbook, Fridays at noon on Wolf Sports Network. Hello? Can anybody hear me? I can't see anything. It's like a snowstorm out here.
JT, I need your help.
What? Who goes there?
I'm the ghost of Out of Pocket Past.
Nah, bro. I don't mess with ghosts.
But I need a sports fan that has zero chill.
Well, now that you mention that, this is gonna be Out of Pocket. Tune in to Season 6 of Sports Out of Pocket, Zero Chill, Wednesdays at 6 on Wolf Sports Network. Man, this beat brings back memories. Anyways, let me tell you all about this show on Wolf Sports Network. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. It's the playbook. Hear us talk about all college basketball, football, and baseball. Fridays at noon. The Playbook, only on Wolf Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live at Playbook Training Camp. Now we throw it down to Joey, who's interviewing head coach Brandon Dyer.
Thanks, JT. I'm here with head coach Brandon Dyer. And Brandon, there have been many reports about starting punter Jackson Voss saying that he peaked in high school. Now, what are your thoughts on how he will perform this semester with the playbook?
Well, Joey, I have full confidence that Jackson Voss will be a breakout star for the playbook this season. And you'll find out Fridays at noon only on Wolf Sports Network.
Baby, it's college football time. Give me my theme music.
This was a pretty wild college football weekend. Before we get into it, let me welcome my brother Keyshawn Ward to the show. He'll be riding out with us for the rest of the hour. But like I said, it was a very interesting college football weekend. I feel like every weekend has been interesting this season because things are so up in the air. There are just no 3 teams we can point to and say, yeah, these are top 3 contenders, but other people play crazy games too. No, it's really wide open. Like, for instance, Saturday night, a lot of people watched this game, but a lot of people ended up cutting it off right around halftime because it got out of hand very, very fast. the then 9th-ranked team in the country, the Illinois Fighting Illini, went on the road to take on the 19th-ranked Indiana Hoosiers and got boat raced, losing that game 63-10. Now, a lot of us on this show were very high on Illinois going into this game. We expected a very competitive battle, but myself and Schrader, I want to say you picked Illinois too because of Luke Altmaier.
Oh, yeah, I 100% thought the opposite was going to happen. So, Kurt Signetti, man, he did what he always does, and he proves people wrong.
I think he was listening to Sports Pack or something, man.
Dude, he must have been.
I'm about to say.
They were playing our stream in the locker room.
Dude, they had an extra fire lit under him, and even if you told me this was a blowout in either direction, I would have said maybe Illinois wins this game 34-17, right? That's the kind of blowout I was expecting. But Indiana winning this game 63-10 is the last thing I expected. And a lot of people kind of wrote off Indiana and said, they're going to be a good team again this year. But we saw what happened last year. They played a cupcake schedule, boat raced a lot of people, lost to Ohio State later in the season, then went on to lose to Indiana in the college football playoff. But this team looks legit because Illinois is a darn good football team. They beat South Carolina in their bowl game last year and had loads of returning production. And I'd argue that so far up until this point, this was a better Indiana team than we've seen compared to what we saw last year. So the fact that Indiana came out and did what they did, Fernando Mendoza going 21 for 23, 267 yards, and 5 passing touchdowns. They had 3 running backs with over 10 carries. Each of them 12 carries for 107 yards, 10 carries for 89, 14 carries for 65. They ran for 312 yards total. Keyshawn, what do you make of this Indiana team? And are they legit contenders in the Big Ten?
I think they are. I think this was a statement win for them against a top 10 team. I don't know how Illinois led up 60 points as a top 10 team, but
crazy.
Indiana, they seem legit. I mean, they're like you said, 5 passing touchdowns. For Illinois, it was a rough wake-up call. I mean, for them, they struggled on offense, only 161 total yards. The ground game was non-existent. Definitely a statement win for Indiana. I got to give them their props for this one.
Oh yeah, and Indiana's pass rush was dominant as well. One of the areas of this game I really thought Illinois had an advantage was the offensive line. Brett Bielema is a great offensive line coach, has sent many to the pros. But when you look at the matchup, Indiana just dominated the line of scrimmage.
I don't think whatever Indiana's defense did to that Illinois offensive line was legal.
Dude, it was crazy.
Their leading rusher having 18 yards on 5 carries. And a Brent Bielema offense, that doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
They're the bread and butter of Illinois' offense is that run game. And you just saw what happens when that gets taken away. And this win for Indiana, right? There's good wins. There's wins that say, I'm a contender. This is a program-setting win. This is Kurt Signetti saying, this is my program. I'm building something here. I might even say he just already built whatever he wanted there, and it's come to fruition right there. A 63-10 win at home against a top 10 team. There's nothing better if you're a fan of Indiana except for beating Ohio State, which they might be able to do.
And they do play Ohio State again this season. I want to say they get Ohio State. Is it a home game for Indiana, or are they going to Columbus?
I'm not sure. I can look that up real quick, though.
Yeah, let's find that real quick. But while y'all look that up,
they don't even play Ohio State this year.
They don't.
They don't.
No.
Who do they play though?
Oregon and Penn State.
So they still have big-time tests in the Big Ten, and even though they played Ohio State last year, you can argue that they face some stronger teams this season as a collective. They just played Illinois. They have Oregon coming up, and they have Penn State. And I'm glad you made mention to those teams, John, because as we look at the Big Ten landscape, now obviously everybody's taking Indiana much more seriously than we were a second ago. Last week we were taking them seriously, but I was thinking it was kind of similar to last year's team. They just kind of shut us up there. USC is still undefeated in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They play Illinois this week, so that's going to be a good measuring stick game for them as well. Michigan is currently undefeated in Big Ten play after a big-time win against Nebraska this past weekend. You still have Ohio State out there. Ohio State is Ohio State. They go on the road to take on the Washington Huskies, who are currently sitting at 3-0. They play them this week. But then there's another game in the Big Ten. You have the Oregon Ducks, currently sitting at 4-0, 1-0 in Big Ten play after their win last week, going on the road to Happy Valley to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions.
That's gonna be a good
College
one.
game day will be in the building. That is
Good.
going to be a fantastic game. So, John, with what we're seeing right now and what is to come, what do you expect to see out of this Big Ten as the season progresses?
Man, I mean the Big Ten's kind of it's throwing a wrench at me right now. Like I can't dodge this wrench just hurling through the air. I mean Indiana, obviously the statement win I don't know about USC. Oregon, I feel like you can't count them out because Dante Moore's really trying to prove himself out there.
You can never count out Dan Lanning.
I'm about to say, he's tough, man. And, I mean, I've never believed the hype behind Penn State. It's always Penn State will be good and then come to the big games. James Franklin can't win. Simple as that. But for right now, I mean, am I going to have to give a
I mean, you don't have to give a pick. We're mostly just taking a look
pick.
at the picture as a whole.
I would just say keep an eye on Oregon, even though they are a very solid team. But I also want to say keep an eye on Michigan with Bryce Underwood as your freshman quarterback. I mean, he proved a big win against Nebraska. So see what they do for the rest of the season, see how they develop, especially with Coach Moore being suspended as of right now.
I mean, you keep asking us questions that don't have answers.
I was about to say, that's week 2.
You're looking at all these conferences, and, say what you will about the NIL era, the transfer portal era. It has kind of somewhat ruined the game that we love, but at the same time, we're getting some darn good college football because a lot of teams have all of a sudden just leveled the playing field.
Right, it's balanced.
We're not in the days where these top dogs are running conferences. Every single conference is going to eat itself alive. Regardless of what it is, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, SEC for sure, that's what's going to happen. But you got to look at this Penn State and Oregon game because this could be a preview for the Big 10 championship.
This is huge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's huge, but it's also, just so y'all know, you want a good game to watch on Saturday, it's Penn State's whiteout against a top 10 team. That's college
Happy
football
Valley,
at its
baby.
finest right there.
Let me tell you, I'm not completely sold on this Penn State team. And I know it's very early in the season, and they have not played many people. But the biggest problem with Penn State over the past few years has not been their defense. They've been incredible, pumping out draft pick after draft pick. The run game has been sensational. You can argue they have the best backfield in college football right now.
Definitely.
The problem has consistently been the wide receiver position. And now they have a quarterback in Drew Aller who a lot of people believe in. We've seen flashes of what he can be, but as of right now, they still are unproven at the wide receiver position. And that's where I think Oregon has the early edge in this game. Because Dante Moore, he's a flat-out baller. We know what Dante Moore can do. Oregon constantly has big-time receivers coming in and out of that program. I'm bought into this offense already. They have a massive challenge this weekend with this Penn State defense, but I pretty much know what Oregon's going to bring to the table. I just wonder, does Penn State have the firepower to sit there and battle with Oregon for 4 quarters? And as of right now, I don't think so.
Dude, this Oregon team is really impressive to me. But also, how about Dan Lanning having one of the coldest line in a press conference when he said, "If you hate me, just know that I love you." You got a coach that says that. Your players are ready to run through a brick wall. We all know the speeches that Dan Lanning gives.
Oh, yeah.
And with a roster like this, man, watch out for Oregon in the title contention.
Oh, yeah, this is a team that has learned from their mistakes last year. They got upset and they got massively disappointed in the college football playoff last year when they got smoked by Ohio State. They are really looking to prove a lot of people wrong. But, Schrader, I want to go back to something you said a minute ago. Talking about how the playing fields have kind of leveled out and the same teams that you've seen rise to the top of conferences are being usurped by other teams. And one of those is the Utah Utes, who had a home game this past weekend against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. The game started off slow. But then Texas Tech went on to score 24 unanswered points in the fourth quarter en route to a 34-10 win against the Utah Utes. Keyshawn, I want to go to you first. What did you learn about the Texas Tech Red Raiders this weekend?
For them, I would say that their backup quarterback's reliable. Yeah,
Will Hammond.
Yeah, he's reliable. The starting quarterback went down. He went down. I want to say third, or he went down somewhere late in the game. Backup quarterback came in, stepped up to the plate, delivered for them. For Utah, their four turnovers hurt their chances throughout the game. Utah, they couldn't get a rhythm. They was losing momentum with penalties back and forth. Texas Tech, I wouldn't say they're legit, but they're definitely a team to watch.
They're
sure.
a team with grit is what I saw there. Yeah. You put in the backup quarterback after your quarterback goes down, you're kind of like, oh, crap, what's going to happen? I mean, he was 13 for 16, 169, and 2 touchdowns. That's really solid, and that's what I mentioned last week, saying, like, Texas Tech, they will sling the ball around. They will be gunslingers, and, I mean, that's what they did in the fourth quarter, scoring 24 right there.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at a team and you want to say, is this team a contender? This team is a contender, and the reason is because of that grit. It's the adaptability, right? You take a right hook, they got back up, and they gave them a left and a right. I mean, they just played good ball, and they were able to do so after getting beaten a little bit, and so it's great to see that, and it's great to see Texas Tech finally rising up in the Big 12.
And Schrader, a second ago, you pointed out the fact that I'm consistently asking you all impossible questions. I'm doing this intentionally. I'm trying to show everybody, whether you're listening to the show, watch live on YouTube, or sitting around this table or in the control room, I don't care where you are listening. I'm trying to show everybody that this college football season is different. There are no clear answers.
Yeah.
I have no idea who I'm going to pick in this Georgia-Alabama game this weekend. I have no idea who's going to win the SEC. I have no idea who's going to win the ACC. The Big 12 is up in the air. The TCU Horned Frogs, newsflash, are surging again. Quarterback Josh Hoover this weekend threw for 379 yards and 5 touchdowns against the SMU team that was in the college football playoff last year. This college football season is unlike any that I've ever seen in my lifetime because nobody has a good take on who's going to go where. Will Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns get their act together and somehow make their way to the national championship game? I don't think so, but I don't know. I can't say for sure.
They tore up Sam Houston.
Right, LSU's ranked in the top
opponent.
5, and I haven't seen offense from them all year.
Nope.
So it's like that's why I'm so intrigued by this college football season. Schrader joked with me earlier before the show and said, "Can we just talk about college football for the entire hour?"
Dude,
shoot, I wish.
That's my dream.
Because dude, there is so much to talk about every single weekend after these games because we get a couple answers, but a laundry list of questions. For every 2 answers that we get 15 more questions.
I would say 30.
And that is why I love college football.
Amen, Richard.
It is amazing. But sadly, we do have to move on. And it's funny because we're moving on from college football, and turning into college basketball as Bruce Pearl, last year's AP National Coach of the Year co-winner, decided today that he is stepping down, effective immediately, as the Auburn Tigers head basketball coach and going into what some might call a very early and unexpected retirement. I really do not know how to feel about this. This is one of the better coaches in all of college football. This Auburn Tigers program has been surging over the past few years, and they've been incredible. I really don't know what to make of this. I just want to open it up to y'all. What were y'all's knee-jerk reactions to getting this news?
Yeah, I was a little shocked. I didn't really understand the reason why. I tried to get a deep dive into it. I seen something about him making a senator run or a Senate run.
Really?
I'm not sure.
Really?
I'm not sure how accurate that is, but I think I seen that on like CBS Sports or something.
You're telling me he wants to give up his position at Auburn to go run for the Senate?
I promise. I seen something saying a Senate run on CBS Sports. I don't know how accurate that is.
It's
but
CBS Sports sometimes.
Yeah,
man.
I don't know, but I don't really know the real reason why he stepped down. But it threw me for a loop because he has a good track record there. He's been there since 2014. I don't really know why.
He's 246 and 125 at Auburn in his tenure. That's crazy.
He's the most winningest coach in Auburn college basketball.
Yeah, he did that this year. He became the winningest coach. It's kind of a crazy move. I mean, but like we don't know the reasons, and everybody in media wants to give you a reason when they don't know the reason. So there could be a plethora of things going on, or maybe, he's 65 years old. A lot of 65-year-olds go ahead and retire, move down to Florida, escape the income tax, and have a good, happy retirement. So maybe that's what he's doing. I know his son is stepping up to be the head coach, so maybe he just wanted to give his son a little extra change. I'm not quite too sure.
And, that's the one thing I was going to make mention of. That's the only real fact that we know is that his son, Stephen Pearl, will step in as Auburn's interim basketball coach for this season. He's been a part of their staff for a little while. And actually, sorry about that, he's not an interim coach. He has been signed to a 5-year contract as their new head coach. So,
baby.
I don't know. Exactly. Maybe this was a scheme. Like how I think this Bill Belichick at North Carolina thing is really a ploy to get his son the head coaching job. Yeah, because his son is currently the defensive coordinator at North Carolina, but we're supposed to be done with football, right? So let me stop there.
We don't have to be.
Right, but it's very shocking though. Bruce Pearl is such a polarizing figure at Auburn. He goes to the biggest football games at the university, and it's in the student section leading the chants. I mean, I don't know.
Program guy,
it's gonna be hard to watch Auburn Tigers basketball without Bruce Pearl turning red on the sideline. I don't know. It's pretty shocking, and I didn't expect to be talking about college basketball today. But I hope that Bruce Pearl has a great
retirement.
I wish him the best of luck on all his future
collect
endeavors.
some seashells.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I wish him the best of luck on all his future endeavors. Now, John, you put something else on our list earlier.
Yes, I did.
And you said that Caitlin Clark was fined $200 for Instagram comments?
Yes. It's one of the funniest things. She was commenting on one of the posts for when the
$200 is crazy.
Yeah, for when the Fever were playing, saying like the refs can't stop us and something else. And she got a $200 fine, not a $2,000, not $20,000 like you'd see in any other sport, but a $200 fine. And I was just like, wait, you can get fined for your comments for this? Like, she's just, I mean, I get there is an extent to where you say certain things, you're going to get fined for it. But this is just like simple banter. This is just like things we would go comment on another team's post saying like, y'all suck. But I don't know why $200. It's a very, very strange thing to see.
No, I mean, it's very interesting. You didn't expect it.
I don't know.
That's
Such a low amount for a fine in sports. Like, that's petty, dog.
Well, when you... Moving on.
You balance the checks a little bit.
Right,
Moving on.
Right.
Joke.
Moving on. The SEC has changed their scheduling metrics in college football. I know I said our college football segment was over, but
It's never
I like
over,
to keep our game-related news in our college football segments and pivot to other bigger picture things in our outside segments. The SEC has moved to a 9-game conference schedule, and with that, there will be alternating. 6 of the SEC games will be alternating. You play these 6 teams this year, you play the other 6 teams the next year. That way, you play the entire conference in a 2-year period. But notice I said 6 games, and not all 9.
Mm-hmm.
That is because each SEC team will have 3 permanent opponents that they play year in and year out.
Good.
For example, the Georgia Bulldogs' 3 opponents will be the Florida Gators, the Auburn Tigers, and the South Carolina Gamecocks. Tennessee's 3 permanent opponents will be the University of Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Florida, and so on and so forth. A lot of people have very mixed feelings about this. A lot of Georgia fans are a little upset that the Georgia-Tennessee game has been replaced by the Georgia-South Carolina game, a game that really hasn't been a massive rivalry in a few years, a game that hasn't even been played in about 2.5 or 3 years. So it's very interesting to see it. I mean, some rivalries get preserved, like the Georgia-Florida and Georgia-Auburn rivalry, but I'm going to miss watching Georgia-Tennessee every year.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good move for the SEC because they're not the only conference doing this. The ACC does it. We only do it with 2 opponents, as Florida State plays Miami and Clemson every single year. And it's fun to have those games to look forward to. But not having Georgia-Tennessee every year is going to be it's going to be brutal. Honestly, that's just way more brutal for Tennessee fans because they're just going to have to add some gaps into how long it's been since they've had the opportunity to beat y'all. Because I mean,
add on to the years.
We've hit that generation point where there's a whole generation of kids that have never seen Tennessee beat Georgia. But no, this is good for the SEC if they're going to add that 9th game, preserve some rivalries, and yeah, it's good for the game.
And it's really interesting moving forward because now in this college football playoff, who you play means a whole lot more.
It does.
So now that we're moving to 9-game conference schedules, a lot of people's schedules are a lot stronger. It's a 12-team format. You can afford to lose 2-3 games and still squeak in, as a 10 seed in this playoff. So, Keyshawn, I want to start with you here. Mm-hmm. Are you expecting that we'll stop seeing these big schools schedule these group of 5 conferences to come in and get a layup game against now that strength of schedule matters so much more? Or do you think because there are bigger conference schedules, we'll see more of that?
I think with this change, I think that big-time schools will limit their play against small schools. Like, for example, Ohio State versus Ohio game or something like that. I think that's what this is for, to try to get that out the way, because now that's giving them an easy path to the playoffs, giving them an easy path for the playoff run. So I think this will ultimately strengthen up their schedule, right? It gives them more leeway, more leverage, it gives them more to prove, I guess. Yeah. So this is what I have from this.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think what this is going to do is it's going to cause these big schools to not schedule big non-conference games to start the year, but they're always going to play those smaller teams because they're tune-up games. Those are the games you fix the kink in you fix some stuff, and you have to go in there and play those smaller teams, kind of get the gears turning, and then get into conference play. But you've already seen teams like Indiana. They stopped scheduling the big dogs, and they went to some Group 5 teams instead. Because if you're an SEC school and you have to play 9 SEC schools, and then you have a top 10 Miami team that you're supposed to open the season against. That's a top 10 Miami team and 9 SEC schools. Right. They're going, I don't want to do that because then you can't afford to lose that Miami game.
Exactly.
So they're going to replace that with a smaller school, and I think that's what you're going to start seeing a lot in these coming years. Is a lot of especially SEC schools with that 9-game SEC schedule, starting to take those non-conference games and replacing them with Group 5. Group 5 games.
Yeah, and it really kind of kills the theory that I had a few years ago. Well, the theory that I've been preaching for a few years, that instead of scheduling the Group of 5 schools for early in the season, now pivot and schedule them for your spring game.
Yeah.
That way you still have the tune-up game.
Schrader,
not even just Schrader. I remember we talked about this a lot on Sports Pack last semester. But now that you are adding all these extra conference games, your schedule's already difficult enough, you don't really need to avoid those tune-up games anymore. The tune-up games actually help you to get warmed up before you get into the gauntlet that is the SEC, ACC, Big 10, or Big 12, because every conference is rising to the occasion, and there are big dogs in every conference now. It's no longer just a two-horse race. You really see teams out of all of these conferences really having representation deep into January. Now, stay tuned. We're going to take a quick song break, but when we get back, sadly, we have to talk about the disaster that was the Atlanta Falcons game on the road in Carolina. Stay tuned. This is Sports Pack on Wolf Sports Network.
You are listening to Sports Pack Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7.
Step right up, folks. It's season 2 of the Playbook, where we're talking everything college basketball and baseball and...
Wait, Jackson. Dude, it's fall. And just like a playbook, I think we need to call an audible.
Ready? Omaha, hot!
We are talking strictly college football all semester on season 2 of the Playbook, Fridays at noon, only on Wolf Sports Network.
It's time for season 2 of the Playbook, and we're talking all things college football, putting together a better sophomore season than Tim Tebow in 2007.
To the listeners and everybody at Wolf Nation, I promise you one thing. You will never see an on-air personality work as hard as I will for season 2 of the Playbook, and we will make this show better than any college football radio show will ever be for season 2 of the Playbook.
Listen as we fulfill this promise, live, every Friday at noon.
This season, everything changes. I'm the only one who came back, and honestly, I might regret it.
Josh Allen might just be the best athlete the NFL has ever seen.
Spencer Strider is an elite closer posing as an ace.
D Rose is the most overrated player of all time.
One vet, all new voices, hot takes, wild debates, and zero chill. Season 6 of Sports Out of Pocket debuts this fall, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Ian's freestyle went big. But we're going to go bigger.
Dang, it's my first season. I feel like a star. I be dropping hot takes. I speak real bizarre. How many views we gonna get? I'd say about 1 mil. Out of Pocket season 6. We got zero chill. Tune in to season 6 of Sports Out of Pocket. Wednesdays at 6 on Wolf Sports Network.
Are you looking to rework your wardrobe? I know I am. And the way I've been doing that recently is by going to the Wolf Sports Network website, hitting the About button, and then clicking the merch store in the drop down to take a look at all the beautiful merchandise that Wolf Sports Network has to offer. A little birdie even told me that they're now selling Wolf Sports Network baseball jerseys. So if you want a piece of that, go to our website, wolfsportsnetwork.com, click About, and hit Merch Store to learn all you need about how to support us by buying our merch.
Yeah, and don't forget that every Wednesday is Fried Chicken Wednesday at West Commons. Faculty and staff can now get their own meal plans by visiting westga.edu/dinewest. Follow at UWG Dine_West on Instagram for other special events and updates.
In the NFL, only one thing matters: chasing a dynasty.
Okay, listen. Let me just say it like this.
Clear the air.
Obviously, I watch football every Sunday. I watch football every day if I could, because I believe football is one of the 7 wonders of the world, right up there with air conditioning, Waffle House, and GPS. One of the 7 wonders, right up there with the rest of them. But what I saw this past Sunday from our hometown Atlanta Falcons disgusted me. Losing 30-0. Yes, 30-0 on the road in Carolina against this Carolina Panthers team that, coming into this game, had the worst defense in all of NFL football.
Yep.
I really don't know what to make of it. And this is actually my first time talking about it since I cut the game off. Because I watched the first quarter, watched half of the second. And I said, you know what? I said to myself, I don't deserve this. So I changed the channel to NFL Red Zone. And I had a fantastic time. But I can't continue to run from the inevitable. I know at some point I have to talk about this game. I knew Sports Pack was coming around. And honestly, I've been dreading it. Because I do not know what to make of this Atlanta Falcons team. I really don't. Week to week, losing to the Buccaneers on a missed field goal. Okay, cool. We missed the field goal. Maybe Younghoe Koo's the issue. Drake London didn't have a great game, but maybe it's Koo. Go on the road to Minnesota, which is described as one of the hardest places to play in the NFL. Beat them 22-6. The offense, didn't look the greatest, but Bijan was killing it on the ground. Our defense stood tall. I'll take it. Now we're going to Carolina. This should be a layup, right?
Should be an easy game.
Should be.
All of a sudden, every offensive player forgets how to play football. The defense that looked great last week, non-existent. This new kicker, Parker Romo, who's from my neck of the woods. He went to McIntosh High School. I didn't go to McIntrash, but he did. He played McIntrash. Missing his first 2 kicks is actually after his second kick when I cut the game off. Because I knew what was coming. And, you know, John, you take it. Because I don't even want to. I can't even. I don't even have the words to describe how I feel.
Breathe out.
John, take it.
Yeah, no, it was a horrible game Sunday. I mean, Michael Penix threw 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick 6, which you really don't see it from him. He's got some good eyes down there, but there's a lot of things wrong with the offense right now. I personally do not think Zach Robinson's cut to be an OC. They're moving him from the box down to the field, which I don't know what that's gonna do. I mean, I get it for a DC position to do that, but like, what are you gonna do, Zach? You gonna twiddle your thumbs down there instead of up there? It's not good. It's like our plays are just, outside run with Bijan, another outside run with Bijan, maybe throw a pass, then give it to Tyler Algier, and then, hey, maybe we're going to punt. We don't know what's going to happen here. It's sad, and our wide receivers were lacking. We need another one. It's not that you have Darnell Mooney and Drake London, they're dogs, but you can't just rely on the 2 the whole entire time. We're dropping passes like crazy. It like Richard said, I don't even know what to make of this team right now. Yeah, but it's rough. It's rough out there.
One of y'all take it.
I mean,
one of y'all take it.
Did these guys remember that they had a game to play on Sunday? Because
they laid their jerseys down on the field and said we won.
That's
simple as that.
That's just a crazy. That's just crazy, man. I mean, I thought the Panthers were gonna take like a step up from last year, but I thought the Falcons were going to do that.
No, just let it be the Falcons. Like I said,
I mean, they just did what they
every
always
time the Falcons play Carolina, wherever it is, there's always something weird about this game.
They always find a way to falcon it up. Yep. I don't understand.
Falcon it up is
I used to hate that term.
It's a great term.
Perfect way to put it.
They always find a way to falcon something up. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know what we have done in a past life as a city to deserve what we have gotten. Because boom, before my time even, Michael Vick was on the Atlanta Falcons. Then all of a sudden, he realizes pit bulls exist, right? Boom, now he's gone. Matt Ryan comes in. Julio Jones, Roddy White, Mohamed Sanu. Man, things look incredible. Devontae Freeman toting the rock. Mm-hmm. Then Tom Brady had to be born, right?
That's when he went down.
Exactly.
That's when he went down.
Yep. Tom Brady was born. Yep. Then our dreams crushed again. Now, after a long wait, went through Taylor Heineke, Marcus Mariota, who actually led a team to victory this past Sunday.
How about it?
And Desmond Ridder. Boom, we have Michael Penix. Raheem Morris is back. Eyes just as yellow as Michael Jordan because he's looking at victory. He sees trophies in his future. That's why his eyes are that yellow. He sees gold in his future. Bijan Robinson. And then it just implodes. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what someone in Atlanta did in a past life that has resulted in us having to live through so much mediocrity.
Have you seen the traffic in the darn city, bro?
Dude, I'm sick of it. I don't know. Everything about this city makes me sick to my stomach, especially when you have other teams in the NFC playing exceptional football. There was an amazing game played in Philadelphia.
How about them Bucks, bro?
I'm not talking about the Bucks. There was an amazing game played in Philadelphia. The Los Angeles Rams going into Philly, taking on the 2-0 reigning Super Bowl champions. Rams went up early, and then the Eagles outscored them 26-0 in the second half to pull away. So let's stop talking about the Dirty Birds, and let's talk about something that actually know how to win.
Like the Bucks.
Stop it, Schrader. This isn't funny. I'm not enjoying myself. Keyshawn,
let me hear it.
Are you buying all this Philadelphia Eagles stock, especially after seeing the Green Bay Packers go down in embarrassing fashion to the Cleveland Browns.
Did not expect that to happen. But for the Eagles, I am bought in on them. Starting off where they left off last season, now they're 3-0. Like you said, the first half was a little shaky. Only had about 300 total, not 300. Oh Lord, 30 total yards in the first half. Mm-hmm. Came back in the second half, cleaned it up. I don't know what happened to the Rams. It just kind of went downhill from there. Yeah, I don't know what they were doing at halftime. And weren't locked in. Clearly weren't locked in. Jalen Hurts came back through 3 touchdowns, led them to victory.
I mean, yeah, they look pretty darn good. I mean, The Eagles, they picked up where they left off last year after winning the Super Bowl. And this game, I mean, I kind of like the Rams because, they got my boys Converse down there. Yeah. And they played a good game.
Right,
Jared Verse did what he does best.
Right, they played great in the first half. It was just something about that Eagles locker room at halftime. They shifted gears. They really just
having a good time, bro.
Right, they put the pedal to the floor, and we saw that passing attack wake up. This is a passing attack that has really struggled over the first few weeks of the season, but A.J. Brown showed that he's still out here at the top of his game with 6 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Smith had 8 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. Even Dallas Goedert got involved with a 33-yard touchdown reception as well. Saquon Barkley was completely taken out of this game. He had 18 carries for 46, but it did not matter because Jalen Hurts and the guys got it done. And even when the Rams had a chance to win this game on a last-second field goal, one of them Georgia Bull Eagles came through, Jordan Davis blocking the field goal.
Big man.
Then scooping, scoring it back to the crib to take it from a 27-26 victory to a 33-26 victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's very interesting because the Eagles are still surging. The Packers are a team that a lot of people have been buying stock on in the NFC. Mm-hmm. I'm still not selling mine, but a lot of people are starting to sell their stock after a very ugly 13-10 loss on the road to the Cleveland Browns, who pulled up in an entirely Dookie Brown jersey. I mean, I'm talking like helmets, jersey, and pants.
Not pretty.
All Dookie Brown.
Not pretty at all.
John, are you selling your Packer stock?
I mean, I don't think I bought a lot of Packer stock, to be honest with you. I've always been on the fence about it. I think a couple of my good friends know that. I don't make it too clear here. But it was kind of surprising the way that, the Browns just held on in that game. And that was an ugly, ugly game. And to get another blocked field goal and to win that, I mean, and just to see what happened there and the way the sideline looked, I wouldn't sell it right away. I'd be on the phone with my broker and everything and whatever else other agencies and wondering, should I sell this for profit or should I hold on?
Now, I will add this. The Cleveland Browns do have the number 1 defense in the NFL. They've had a top 5 defense in the NFL for the past few years, and they keep adding draft picks like Carson Schlesinger at linebacker, who I had a late first, early second round grade on coming out of UCLA. They got Mason Graham. They continue to strengthen this defensive unit that has been dominant over years past. So I'll give the Packers that. But Keyshawn, is Jordan Love still the weakest link here?
I think he is. I'm not bought on Jordan Love yet, honestly. I'm not bought on him. He hasn't showed me enough yet. He hasn't showed up in the big-time games yet, especially now when he's losing to the Browns. You can't lose to a team like the Browns, especially when you're the Packers. Jordan Love, you got to step it up with that one. They had 14 turnovers.
Yep. Wait, what?
No. Yeah. They had not 14 turnovers.
Yeah, 14, I was like, hold on. They have 14 turnovers now.
14 penalties.
Yes.
Right. They had 14 penalties. You can't expect to win a game like that when you have 14 penalties. Quinshon Judkins actually showed up huge for the Browns. Did not expect him to play with everything he had going on. So his first career game, showed up for the Browns. He played a huge part in their win. Yeah, so for the Packers, This doesn't shape up their season. I think this just exposes some of their cracks a little bit. Right. This is definitely just something that they could look back to, clean up whatever issues they had, kind of touch up on those penalties, and get better next week.
I mean, you look at this Packers team, don't sell your stock. Because the thing about the Packers is it's their defense. Sure, their offense had a bad game, but they're in the AFC North. AFC?
NFC North.
AFC. They're AFC North.
No, they're
Packers
NFC
North.
Not Packers. I meant to say the Browns.
The Browns, yeah.
Sorry.
In AFC North.
Yeah, but the Browns they're just one of those teams that they'll just bite somebody out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And they surprise people. I mean, those jerseys were wild, though. Like, the skid marks came out the ball on Sunday.
I don't know. I kind of like them a little bit.
That's one of the takes of all time.
You like the triple brown?
I like all jerseys like that with a helmet and the helmet, the jersey, and the pants all match. That's kind of my swag a little bit. I don't know.
I know that's.
I kind of like it a little bit.
I know that's right.
Know.
Hey, look.
Hey,
do your thing, dog. Do your thing.
Just remember, Don't ever count out a Joe Flacco Browns team. We've seen what they can do.
A Joe Flacco Browns team. That's like the sentence of the year.
Hey, but you saw what he did 2 years ago. He took him to the freaking playoffs, dog.
He did.
Look what he just did.
Joe Flacco's still
the
going
Packers
strong.
were winning 10-0 with 4 minutes left.
Yeah,
Don't forget that. Joe Flacco, baby.
Joe Flacco. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs played a pretty interesting game last night as well. They ended up getting their first win of the season, winning 22-9 against the New York Giants. But nothing about this game was pretty whatsoever. Patrick Mahomes went 22 for 37 for
Scatterboo.
224 and a touchdown. Cam Scatterboo had a great game. Over 120 yards from scrimmage, 60 on the ground, 60 in the air, and a touchdown. He really made his presence known after the Tyrone Tracy injury. But the Kansas City Chiefs still kind of sputtered. The run game still wasn't very strong. Isaiah Pacheco had 10 carries for 45 yards. Kareem Hunt had 10 carries for 34 yards. The passing game still looked very shaky. A few drop picks by the Giants. And I'm still worried about the Chiefs because next week they host the Baltimore Ravens. And this is a Ravens team that's hungry. A Ravens team that's looking to prove a point. Lamar Jackson's looking to show everybody that the window isn't closed. They can produce. And they're looking to make an example of what has been a struggling, bruised, and battered Kansas City Chiefs team whose wide receiver room is still banged up. Rashee Rice won't be back until week 7. And that offensive line seems to have taken a slight step back from last season. But we'll talk more about the Chiefs later on this week as we hype up their game against the Baltimore Ravens. But the Ravens are in action tonight at home against the Detroit Lions. 2 1-1 teams that are in the thick of Super Bowl contention. Joey, our TriCaster who runs our cameras, is outside banging on his chest because he is a big-time Detroit Lions fan. Before his injury, he was on pace to play for the Detroit Lions as he set interception records in middle school football. We're not here to talk about Joey today. We're here to talk about this $1 million matchup. Now, before we dive into it, John, remind the people of our policy. Sports Pack and Wolf Sports Network are not liable for any financial losses that may occur due to using our picks outside of the show. These are just our opinions. Don't blame us. Blame the players.
Darn right.
Now, John, you've admitted time to time that you are partial to the Lions, and I'm sure you're going all in on the Lions after watching the embarrassment that the Falcons just walked out onto the football field.
Hey, man.
So I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
Give me your keys to this game and who you got taking home the victory.
I mean, it's going to be a good game. This is going to be a very hard-fought game, and really what I need to see here from the Lions is I want to see some complete passing here. It's not that they do have complete passing and everything, and they have solid receivers, but I really just want to see consistency. Consistency is key because you have a really good Ravens defense. You know they have Roquan, they have Malachi Starks, if I'm correct. They have there's a lot. I just can't name each. Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah. Jair Alexander.
You have guys. You guys go across the board, so you have to play a very fundamental game, and I really want to see him open up the run game, but I'm still rolling with the Lions tonight. I still love Dan Campbell. I think it took the Lions a little bit of time to get going. I mean, the first game you saw what happened. They got kind of their teeth punched in, but I realized they're installing their full playbooks, and the team was getting going, so I think they're starting to pick it up, and I'm going to go with the Lions here tonight.
This is a Ravens team that has not scored under 40 points in their first 2 games, losing to the Bills 40-41, and then going out and decimating the same Browns team that we just saw beat the Green Bay Packers 41-17. I just figured I'd remind you all before we move forward with our picks. Schrader?
Yeah, this is going to be one friggin' darn good football game. I mean, these are 2 of the best teams you could have picked to play in prime time, late September. You're trying to get the vibe for the season going, and these are 2 teams that are really trying to set the tone for the season. And, you look at that first loss that the Lions had in week 1, and you can definitely just say, I mean, they got a whole new coaching staff outside of Dan Campbell. There's going to be some things that they got to work out. And then you look at this Ravens team, and they're just hungry.
Yep.
They know that they have not performed the way they needed to in the postseason in recent years, and this year they want to fly through the regular season so that they can focus on the postseason. And I think that it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to give it to the Ravens because it's at home. And because I think Derrick Henry is actually going to do something this week, unlike last week. He had a great week 1. Let me tell you, my fantasy team was running that first week. But 2.9 points from Derrick Henry is unacceptable, and I'm going to need him to step it up this week.
Yeah, for me, this is going to be a tough one. Monday night matchup. Two contenders, but for this one, I'm going to have to go with Lamar. I'm a little biased. I'm a little biased, but I'm going to go with Lamar and the Ravens. I'm a huge Lamar stan. Only thing with the Lions is if they can contain Lamar, if they let him get outside this ball game, it's over with. They have to beat him in the pocket. They have to let him beat them in the pocket. If they let him beat them through the air, that's just something they have to live with. But through the run game, they cannot allow him to escape that pocket. If they could contain him, they might have a chance, but I don't see that happening. Like you said, they're playing at home. I expect Derrick Henry to pop off for some huge yardage. Hopefully, he could revenge from last week. Lamar Jackson, he's hungry. We know how he is. Hasn't performed, so I feel like this is a season for not for them just to get past this game, but for the rest of the season as well.
This is a very interesting matchup. Like you said, straight to the Lions.
It's not an easy one to pick. That's why I just talked about Derrick Henry.
Not at all. It's
threw
not,
my pick in there and kept going.
It's not easy at all. The Lions team's replacing 2 coordinators, but they still have all the core pieces. Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, must I continue to list. This is a complete team. Their defense, healthy as a horse. I mean, last year, that was their problem. A lot of their star defensive players went down, but they still went, 14-2 through the regular season? But now they have all their guys back. But they've still been somewhat sputtering. Dominant win last week against Chicago. They're looking to keep that going today. But they're facing a Baltimore Ravens team that you all just explained is extremely hungry. Looking to prove a point because people like myself are saying that their title window is closing. How much longer will Lamar continue to be able to be as dynamic with his legs as he has been over the years past? He has the highest passer rating in NFL history. He's turned into an outstanding passer of the football, on top of what he can do with his legs. Derrick Henry's looking to prove a point after his disappointing week last week, and after arguably losing the game for the Baltimore Ravens the week prior with his costly fumble against the Buffalo Bills.
So my parlay.
This Ravens team is hungry. Isaiah likely may return today, but even if he doesn't, Mark Andrews has been sputtering throughout the entire season. We have not seen much from him. This Ravens team has so much to prove, and that's why I'm rolling with them at home at M&T Bank Stadium. I think the Ravens win what's going to be a very competitive football game. But I also want to say this. The Lions need to do one thing here to win this game. They have to establish the run. They have to get these running backs going.
Find a couple kneecaps, bro.
Dude, exactly. Over these first 2 weeks, their run blocking has not been the greatest. They threw the ball so much against Chicago last week because they were not able to run the ball effectively. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery have not been able to get rolling behind this new look Detroit Lions offensive line, and they have to get that going, especially against a defense like Baltimore with so many ball hawks in the secondary. Because if they can stop your run game, they know Jared Goff is going to drop back to pass. So what they're going to do, they're going to dial up the pressure and trust their guys one-on-one because they have arguably the best safety duo in football and some of the best corners that we've seen over the past 5 years. They trust their guys, so you must establish the run. And I'm not sure if this is the game that Detroit gets this run game back going against a stellar defense
tough
like
defense
Baltimore.
to establish the run again.
Exactly. If you haven't been able to run the ball all year, this is not the defense you're all of a sudden going to figure out how to do it against. So I'm going to lean with the Ravens here, but I'm expecting a very competitive football game because these are 2 of the best teams in the sport going head-to-head. Now, that's all the time we got for Sports Pack today. Be sure to join us again this coming Thursday as we'll be back live. If you want to have your voice heard, DM us on Instagram at Wolf Sports Network and let us know because call-ins are back this Thursday, so be sure to tune in for that. One last thank you to all our sponsors, Dine West, Westwoods Apartments, our Drink Responsibly campaign, our UWG book drive, and our merch store if you want to show some support to Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio. Like I said, we got call-ins coming back this Thursday. Well, we started last week, but we're continuing our call-in segment this Thursday. If you know anybody on the show, or just follow us on Instagram at Wolf Sports Network, hit us up, let us know you want your voice to be heard, and we will walk you through what you need to do to get on the show this week. But that's all the time we got. We'll see you this upcoming Thursday. Have a blessed day and go Wolves.